Hi guys, welcome to Antique Sprinklers. Today we're going to be talking about a set of Buckner impacts that I find really interesting looking. They are the 8600 series, and as near as I can tell, they were produced by Buckner from the late 1950s until around 1980. So really that span of time between James Cosin taking over the company through selling it to Johns Manville and then purchasing it back from JM. And so I've also brought out, in addition to an example of each sprinkler, my 1967 Buckner Ag Catalog, because I think the description of the application these are meant for will be meaningful to you. So, you know, the characteristic they each share is this elongated lever. And this model here, without the frost cap on it and with the frame only on one side, is the 8600. And it has a dual nozzle as well, full circle, 3/4 inch inlet. And it has their the Buckner GDG bearing, which was their better bearing on these sprinklers. And to quote what Buckner intended you to do with these guys, I like the way they wrote this. It says here, the 8600 is the most efficient sprinkler available for overhead sprinkling of citrus. Equally suitable for similar applications requiring wide sprinkler spacing, low precipitation rates, and overhead sprinkling. So they also had a stream straightener in them, and that's one of the ways they got their low precip rate. You could stretch the spacings out. The nozzles were fairly small, and we'll get into the nozzle sizes they supported. But basically, they had a nice long range, just a small amount of water coming out of them, and so you had a really nice low precip rate. The next one up is the 8601, and so this guy here has both the frost cap and the wedge, and you know, clearly this was meant to be able to continue to rotate in adverse situations. So that wedge helps a lot, obviously, and you have the frost cap to keep the ice out. Single nozzle, again, relatively small nozzles for a 3/4 inch impact. And the 67 catalog says that this is for frost or heat protection on early vegetables, tomatoes, tobacco, strawberries, grapevines, and tree fruits. And the low frequency driving lever revolves the sprinkler once every 40 to 60 seconds with precip rates of 8/100ths to 22/100ths of an inch. So very low precip rate again. And you know, with the stream straightener in it, and I think that's why you see this long barrel here, is to make room for that, you get a really nice long diameter, a nice radius out of it, compared to previous impacts with similar sized nozzles at similar pressures. And so I just think this thing looks great. I love the shape of that lever. It's got a really nice lever wedge on it, and frost cap. And looking at the bearing, looking at the frost cap, it's very possible that this guy was never used. The other thing I wanted to point out on this series, especially the 8601 and the 8602, is that really iconic B with the water drop behind it logo. I think it's one of the best logos in irrigation. So that's the 8601. And then lastly here, or at least I thought lastly, more to come on that, we have the 8602. And again, single nozzle, 3/4 inch impact. No wedge on this. Longer spoon though, you'll see, than the configuration that has the wedge in it, and a frost cap. And so the 67 catalog says, this long range, medium pressure, single nozzle, extra low capacity Rainer. And so Rainer was sort of the overarching term for all of Buckner's impacts at the time, all of their above ground sprinklers at the time, I should say. Rainer, with widest effective coverage pattern, permits wider spacings, longer sets, and reduced costs. Runoff is minimized and water penetrates slowly to the root zone for best growth. This is ideal for something they refer to as tight land. Not sure what that is. hillsides or slopes where a slow penetrating application of water is desired. So they had very specific things in mind, as a lot of ag manufacturers did when they put together the configurations on these guys. And I think they're beautiful sprinklers. I think you're going to like watching them in action. They work very, very well. They rotate relatively slowly. They have a nice long throw to them. And I thought I had a complete set until, as I was preparing to make this video, I was looking and looking and looking at different catalogs and things of that nature, and came across, and I don't think it's in the 67, I think they discontinued it in 65, something called the 8605, which is basically the 8600, but without a stream straightener, and I think only one nozzle, if I'm not mistaken. I'll put a picture up of it just so you can see it. Nobody I know has one of these, even the people I know who have everything. I have one more place where a guy's still getting back to me, but so far I have not found an 8605. And for you guys who are really knowledgeable about Buckner, if they made an 8600, an 8601, an 8602, and an 8605, what are the odds they made an 8603 and an 8604 that I don't know a single thing about? If you are obsessed with Buckner sprinklers in the way that I am, which is to say in a very unhealthy manner that occupies far too much of your mind and your time, and maybe even your money, that kind of thing keeps you up at night. So hopefully that's not the case with you. Hopefully you have a much healthier connection to what we're doing here, and you can just enjoy watching all three of these sprinklers in operation. So with that, I think I'm going to get out of the way, and we're going to let you see what you came for. Thanks so much for watching.